We are so blessed to have our solstice talk by Jasmine Cecelic, as I am learning how to say her name. And I'm hoping that Zach sent me a thing and he didn't.
I didn't?
You did not? I don't have the intro for you, I'm sorry. Anything you would like me to say about you? She's lovely, she's a part of our circle, and we want to hear what she has to say about solstice. So welcome, Jasmine.
Yay!
I'm a very visual person, so I talk with my hands and all kinds of stuff. So I won't be sitting.
Stay in the view of the
I will
camera.
try my best. Okay. Whiteboard, I know, right? Visual effects.
It might be backwards, but just,
I know.
yeah, it's
Zoom,
all right.
I am going clockwise. It's going to look backwards for all of you. I'm sorry. Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Happy solstice. I will be talking about the Wheel of the Year, and that's what we call a group of 8 holidays throughout the year that celebrate cosmic events, cosmic occurrences that all living beings in Gaia experience. 4 solar holidays and 4 lunar holidays. And what I love about it is that no matter where you are in the planet, you may experience them differently, but they occur for all of us, no matter our creed, our background, our species. We're all here experiencing these eternal rhythms that just keep going and are amazing. So, when we have a circle.
Wow, well done. That's not that easy.
We tend to break it into the 4 directions. So we'll have north, east, south, and west. And those are associated with the 4 physical elements as well. So earth, air, fire, and water. And I'll get to how those play in. Now, some of you may be familiar with the holidays that I'm going to cover, and you may have heard calendar dates assigned to some of them, like May 1st or October 31st. These holidays predate our Gregorian calendar by thousands of years. So they are actually lunar holidays, the ones that tend to get put on calendar days. So just to clarify that. So I'm going to start at sort of the opposite side of the year with the other solstice, Yule. This is the longest night of the year, or the shortest day. And when it's paired with a new moon, it's also the darkest night of the year.
Just for the Northern Hemisphere.
For the Northern, yes. So my perspective, I was born and raised in northern New Mexico, right here. So everything I will be saying is informed by a Northern Hemisphere temperate climate perspective.
But it's opposite on this.
It is. It is. So I will only be addressing these as we experience them here. But for the winter solstice, Yule, we are definitely embedded in the earth element. This is a time of going in. Everyone that hibernates or experiences torpor is in their den, in the ground. The bulbs and seeds are locked away down in Gaia, getting ready to, wait out the winter until spring. So energetically and historically, this was not really, for practical reasons, a time you go visiting family and you travel across the country. And it's much more of a reflective time, reflecting on the year that has passed and thinking about the year ahead. Health, warmth, and light, a typical greeting. So gifts were not always historically given on this holiday, but there would be small like candles, firewood, medicine, helping your community and your family get through the darkest time of the year. So we had a solar holiday, so our next holiday will be a lunar holiday. It is the second new moon after the winter solstice. This is also the same cosmic event celebrated as Chinese or Lunar New Year. So you will see these holidays in mirrored fashion and different connotations on every continent on the planet. The way I've traditionally celebrated it, though I do incorporate some Chinese New Year stuff as well, is that it's Brigid's Day. She brought us poetry, smithcraft, and everything having to do with the hearth. Because even though Imbolc is considered our first spring holiday, as we know here especially, we are still very much in winter at this time. February tends to be our snowiest and sometimes coldest month of the year. But if you are in a coastal area, you might already be getting daffodils and snowdrops, and the days are definitely lengthening by this point. So the signs of spring are all there. You're getting ready to prune your fruit trees. The ground is warming. Not everything that falls from the sky stays as solidly. There are some meltings going on. So we had a lunar holiday. So our next holiday will be solar holiday. Very good.
Equinox.
Yay! Ostara! So, on the equinox, daytime length and nighttime length are exactly equal. And Ostara tends to come from the name of the goddess Eostra. Maybe it sounds familiar. She rides a big rabbit from the moon onto Earth and hides pretty eggs and flowers and spring greens for us to find. And so what was interesting... So you have the birth of the sun when the sun is reborn, but it has a set calendar date of December 25th. But then the resurrection of said sun tends to hop kind of all over the calendar. And there's no set date for Easter. And that's because it's actually still based off of the spring equinox and the first full moon after, known as Eostra's moon. The rule is that Easter will fall on the first Sunday after the first full moon after the spring equinox. So in an early year, if the spring equinox is March 18th and the full moon happens to be on Saturday, March 19th, then Easter will be Sunday, March 20th. But in a late year, if the equinox isn't until March 23rd and it happens to be the exact same day as the full moon, you have to wait a whole lunar cycle for the first full moon after. And if that full moon is on a Sunday, you have to wait a whole another week for the first Sunday after. So it can be as late as April 28th. Anyway, fun stuff. So with the equinoxes, they kind of divide our wheel into the bright daytime dominant side of the year and sort of the darker nighttime dominant side of the year. So our lunar holiday, the last one we covered in the dark side of the year, was a new moon, second new moon after the solstice. But now we're on the bright side of the year. So our next lunar holiday will be the second full moon after the spring equinox. And this is Beltane. Beltane's a biggie. Traditionally, Beltane celebrates the divine feminine, and specifically the goddess and her union with the divine masculine. The two of them creating all life on Earth, when spring is really coming alive and we actually are able to start harvesting greens and yummy things. There were points in history in certain places in Europe where talking about your own wedding, much less getting married in the month of May, was taboo, if not outright illegal during this time, because May is the goddess's wedding time, and that is why there is a tradition of so many June brides. You wait until June to have your own wedding. So this union of the god and goddess is most often represented by a big hardwood pole getting placed in the earth and then being enveloped by lovely ribbons, showing the two energies combining together to create the life that we know here. This is also historically a fairy day. For those of you into fairy lore, Beltane is the big fairy holiday. Until William decided to write a play, he single-handedly changed that with Midsummer's Night's Dream, and now everyone thinks that today is a fairy holiday. But Bill did that on his own in the 1500s. So that brings us to today. Litha, the summer solstice. And this, whereas Beltane really celebrates the divine feminine, Litha is for the divine masculine. And, sorry, something I didn't mention, air is the element for when we're entering into spring. We know that with how windy our springs are here. And now, solstice, fire, lots of heat. We are right in the middle of it right now. And happy Man Day. All masculine energies celebrated today. Apollo, Ra, Oak King, Green Man, Pan, they all have celebrations today. And it's a time when we celebrate those who embody what is generally defined as masculine energy, though not necessarily from males. It's for those in our lives who are protectors, who inspire our bravery and our courage, and who are our stable supporters, and most importantly, possibly, providers of mostly our physical needs. That's all celebrated today. Now, I have a lot of Swedish ancestry, and they do not get very warm until this very day. So they don't do their maypole until today. And their maypole looks a little bit different. It's got this sort of thing with these two round wreaths of flowers and on the pole. It's, very masculine holiday. And we celebrate the light, especially for those of us who live in darker places who don't get as much light. So today is a solar holiday, which makes our next holiday a lunar holiday. And we're still on the bright side of the year, so it's still a full moon holiday. The second full moon after the summer solstice is Lammas, or Lugnasad. And my spelling is atrocious. I will freely admit that, so sorry. Anyway, we often use very feminine imagery when talking about harvests and harvest holidays. Oh, the bounty of Mother Earth has been giving birth and giving us all these wonderful things, which is true, definitely. But for Lammas in particular, as our first harvest holiday, it's still actually quite a masculine holiday. The term Lugnasad actually comes from the god Lugh, who sacrifices himself in the grain harvest to ensure not only that we have enough to get through winter, but also enough seed remaining afterwards to plant in the spring. And we see that here, we're starting to get all of our fruits, the apricots, the plums, the peaches start coming on around this time of year, maybe our sweet corn. If we've had good monsoons starting at the solstice, this is also very much a mushroom holiday for us here. And yeah, we can't wait. And so the first of our 3 harvest holidays, the middle one being once again the equinox, Mabon. So once again, day and night completely equal at the equinox. And this is the time when we are going from the bright light side of the year and kind of pitching into the dark
What's
side
the
of the
name
year.
again?
Mabon?
Mabon?
That's how I've heard it pronounced. I used to say Mabon because I try to give a Spanish pronunciation to everything. That doesn't work with the Celtic holidays. I found that. So, and that's also a really a metaphor for what's going on this time of year. Everything is dying. Animals and plants are either just senescing into their winter state, or we are killing them on purpose to make sure that we have enough to get through the winter. So there's a lot of gratitude and acknowledgement for the sacrifice at this time, going from the light into the dark, preparing for the dark side of the year, the cold, the long winter months. I have a hunch that this was possibly historically also the feast day for Taos Pueblo before they were assigned a saint and a calendar day, which is September 30th, San Jeronimo. They do deer dances a lot at this time, and this is when the elk and deer are starting to migrate down from the higher elevations, following the grass and the warmer air down into the valleys where we take a few to get through the winter. So that's that time. And so all of our late harvest stuff is coming out now. We are not in Britain, so our harvest calendar doesn't quite line up the same way, but we are now getting our flower corn and our winter squashes and apples. Mabon's a big apple holiday for us. That's all happening at this time. And water is often used as a metaphor for the underworld or the afterlife or the transition from life into death. You see parallels everywhere, the river Styx, lots of water analogies for this transitional time. So it's kind of cool how the elements all line up like that. So now we're in the dark side of the year. And we just had a solar holiday, so our next holiday
He's a lunar.
and it'll be a new moon again, dark moon. And this is Samhain. And this is traditionally actually the Pagan New Year. So acknowledgement that life or the year begins in darkness first. You plant the seed in the ground and then it grows. The baby is in the womb, alive, before it's given birth. So the year starts in the dark. We get planted into earth before we kind of take off with the year. And it's amazing to me how across cultures there can be such similarities. Dia de Muertos is generally attributed to being in Aztec, or at least of Aztec origin, and Samhain in Ireland. The two couldn't be more identical. I mean, down to the foods that are served and where and how we serve them, and eating and dancing in cemeteries, and makeup and dressing up, and even sugar skulls when they had sugar. I mean, they are like so much the same. I don't think that's just coincidence. So Samhain is when we celebrate the ancestors and their return. A lot of us maybe grew up with Yule and Ostara being the big two holidays. I don't know, maybe it was called Christmas and Easter, you know. But for the pagan calendar, Samhain and Beltane are the two big holidays. And it's said that at these 2 points in the year, the veils are thinnest. So spirits can easily travel between planes and realms. And that is why costuming and masks are so popular on these 2 days. The idea being that if there is a mischievous spirit or one even with malevolent intent who sees you in costume and tries to place any negativity on you, it'll only affix to what they can see, which is easily discarded and removed afterwards. But those who truly know you and truly love you will easily see through your disguise and be able to celebrate with you on those days. So that's my meal of the year. Thank you so much.
Can I ask your children's birth dates?
Yes, November 30th and January 1st. I had this thing where I really didn't want them born in December. There's a lot of December baggage in my family. So they each missed December by 45 minutes.
Good job, Mama.
Who's November 30th? That's my sister too.
Anybody want to talk about anything they do for solstice?
I have a question
Yeah.
about Beltane.
Yeah.
I've always heard it's like the running of the stag, the romping through the woods, having wild sex.
It is a sex holiday.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
You're not allowed to get married, but
Right.
you definitely are allowed to copulate.
Good time.
I am. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, in the pagan view,
Yeah.
how is masculinity defined?
Masculinity is, it's associated with physical strengths, but that can also kind of be like a personality of strength and physical needs and providing for those needs. So the hunter and the wood chopping and the house building and the sex and all of the physical needs that we need. But in the way it's presented, like ideally, it's a very holistic sort of strength and solidity, like the stone foundation on which we can build our community. And it's really, I mean, if you like this, you know, you've got 2 solstices, 2 equinoxes, 2 full moons, 2 new moons, everything's in balance. So whenever you try to take any one thing out of the context, out of the balance, it doesn't work. So a solid masculinity, whether that's actually in male form or not, only shines when it also has very feminine, soft balances to work with. And soft femininity only really works when it has strength and solidity to balance and work off of. And it's the union and combination of both, and both energies, and then, you know, when they come together, there's also kind of this core energy that is both and neither. It's just the ethers. It's just pure spirit that's not gender associated. And that is the sacred combination that makes our world flow.
Great answer.
Good answer. Yeah.